listening to The Kula Ring, a podcast made for manufacturing marketers. Here are Carmen Perry and Jeff White.
Welcome to The Kula Ring, a podcast for manufacturing marketers brought to you by Kula Partners. My name is Jeff White, and joining me today is Carmen Perry. Carmen, how you doing, sir?
I am excited to be here.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, it's not every time that I like when look, every episode is amazing. I love all of our guests. We don't want to be rude, but at the
we're
same
not
time,
particularly. You can't pick favorites.
no.
No.
But I love when we talk about something that's just completely kind of zigs while everybody else is zagging, or it's just not something kind of it's often thought about in the space, which
Yeah.
I think is a good way to characterize today's conversation.
For sure, and I don't want to give too many tips away
All
about
right.
it. I think we'll just dive right into it. So, joining us today is Herbert Staten Jr. Herbert is the marketing director at MBC Aerosol Filling Machinery. Welcome to The Kula Ring, Herbert.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited about started to kind of discuss what I love doing, marketing and making machines look pretty so people can buy them. So, so it's kind of excited to talk about it and kind of share my vision for when I joined NBC and where we're going now.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you with us. Let's introduce our listeners first to NBC a bit. Tell us about the firm and how you ended up there.
NBC Aerosol is we custom design aerosol filling machines. So everything from, we make the machines that fill up, deodorants, air sprays, pesticides, sunscreen. So our machines actually help fill those cans and put those products inside the can that you use every day. A lot of people use and kind of don't really, know the history behind how it gets there.
It's kind of one of those invisible things that everybody, you probably go through it and use, probably everybody listening to this podcast has interacted indirectly with a product that you market.
Oh, definitely. If they put on deodorant this morning, they've used something we've actually filled properly.
So we hope you have at least interacted with it.
Yeah, exactly.
How long's the company been around, Herbert?
Company's been around right now, I think it's 15 years now.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've recently been, we're under a new company now, one of our company that actually purchased us and kind of giving us some more money to invest into innovation and things like that. So RB Industries has have brought us under their umbrella of other manufacturing companies that they own just recently. So it's probably last year or so.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's been a good journey though. Good transition.
I was half asking that question because I wanted to know if they had been around when the whole ozone and CFC propellant debate was going on and the world kind of came together and solved that one.
Yeah, and that debate still goes on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that debate still goes on. I remember when I started NBC, people were still talking about it, and so I ended up I wrote a couple of blogs about it just to kind of dispel the myth of what it actually is, so people got to understand. It was actually pretty good. Got a lot of traction too, so it's good. So a lot of people are interested in it.
Interesting. I remember when that was such a selling feature as some organizations moved towards, non-CFC aerosols or whatever it was. I don't even remember. Like, was that 20 years ago? Was it 30? I can't recall.
Yeah, you're dating yourself now, Jeff, for sure.
It was a while ago. I mean, it's been going on, and people still bring it. People still bring it up now. I
Did
mean,
they
I'll go
really?
to shows. People, yeah, we're at shows. People, hey, what about this? Oh, hey, here, I gave him a link. I gave him a link to the blog. Here you go, read that.
Yeah, the ozone's fine. Everything else is screwed though. So
Yeah, exactly. No, we're good. Yeah, I mean, and there's other technologies that are, that are coming aboard too. I mean, we do bag on valve, which is another technology used alongside aerosol. So.
Herbert, you said in kind of introducing yourself and as we kicked off the show here, you said, make stuff look good so people will buy it. And, that's really the topic of today's show, this notion of, marketing machines through beauty and, industrial machinery through beauty. And that is not something you hear about every day.
No, I think it's overlooked. I remember coming aboard NBC and talking to the owner, Jim, and I was like, I walk into the shop and I'm like, wow, these machines are, I mean, they're immaculate. Just the way they look, they're very impressive in the details and the engineering. And I was like, why don't we showcase that? Why don't we make that a feature? I mean, because there are some, there are some industries like for example, cosmetics. I mean, they're gonna have they want their showroom to look great. So in most cases, so having a machine that's aesthetically pleasing to the eye and kind of and is definitely a workhorse that's a plus.
Tell our audience a bit about your background, because obviously, how you've come to this is part of what has allowed you to recognize, a previously unseen beauty.
So yeah, so my background, I actually have a degree in computer science. So that's where the analytics side comes from as far as the marketing. And I progressed, and I have a background. I've studied photography and cinematography, so I've done like short films, commercials, and a lot of promotional stuff for other brands and other companies. So that gave me that insight and that vision of what the machine could be and what it could look like. So when I light everything and give it that, I just give it that look, that cinematic look that everybody looks for, and find those details in the machine that are very going to be interesting to the audience and the people that are watching.
When you first brought this up, did they look at you like a dog watching TV? Like, what is Herbert talking about?
No, you know what? I did. I remember meeting with them, and I was like, and I saw some past videos or saw some other literature, and I'm like, how come the machine is not lit from the inside? How come you're not lighting the machine so it actually shows those details? So I mean, they were very. And then once they saw some of the videos, they're like, okay, wow, okay, now I see. I mean, I think the owners that built NBC, they knew that their machines had an aesthetic look that was very pleasing. So it was just having somebody come in and kind of showcase. So they didn't fight it. They knew, they already had an idea that their machines were very well engineered and looked good. So yeah, so it wasn't a fight.
Interesting. And do you find, as you kind of, and I understand it's a very niche category, but you do have competitors, I'm sure. Is there a big, do you see them, maybe trying to catch up or mimic you in any way? Or,
It's funny you say that. Yeah, yeah. I've been watching some of our competitors and watching some of the things they do. And yes, they have started mimicking or paying attention and saying, "Hey, wait a minute. We can showcase our machines as well." Uh, so yeah, it happened, which is I'm like, okay, that's great. That's great. You understand that now. So I don't take offense to that. I'm like, hey, okay, that's it's kind of what's that saying about imitation is so it's kind of good.
yeah, it's a good form of flattery, there's no question. And but one assumes maybe their machines aren't quite as beautiful either.
I won't say that. I'll keep that to myself.
It's really interesting. I mean, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school now. I think we're well outside of NDAs. In the early days of our life as an agency here, we did some work marketing a fish pump that was painted British Racing green. And it's a very industrial. It's a fish pump that sits on a very hard-working fishing boat. And, I think a lot of people would have looked at that and said, why are you spending the extra money to finish the machine in that high grade way and spending all that money on that most expensive color of paint that you can find? And then they ended up getting featured on a reality TV show, I think largely because their pump was beautiful. Like, so, Deadliest Catch, correct, Jeff?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so, they had their fish pump on that boat. And I don't think that was, entirely by mistake, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, not at all, not at all. I mean, that's they figured out that hey, my brand is gonna stand out no matter what. You're gonna know what that green, when that color pops up, you're gonna know exactly what it is and who it is.
Do you find, I mean, I know that you need both the steak and the sizzle here. You can't ignore the fact of talking about the the performance of the equipment and the specifications. But has your approach to highlighting the beauty extended at all towards maybe less of an emphasis on some of that, or have you noticed that like an emphasis on beauty actually extends to the copy, extends to how you talk about the machine, other than just how you show it?
That's interesting. Yeah, I definitely want to. I definitely balance it out where talking about. I mean, because the reliability of our machines is what has got it to this point where we have a reputation that we're a great machine that works hard and fuels products and gives our consumers what they need. Um, so I focus on that, but I definitely balance balance those two out to make sure that we still talk about performance, but it definitely I think the engineering working alongside engineering, they understand that we do have a look, then we kind of continue to portray that look as we keep designing and innovating.
I guess shifting gears here, now I'm bouncing all over the place, but in thinking about the highlighting the aesthetic of the machine, has it resulted in engineering putting any more of an emphasis on how the machinery looks? Like, have they made different decisions, knowing that the beauty of the machine is going to be highlighted more?
Oh yeah, definitely. Our engineering team is very keen on our brand right now, and they understand that when they design or put a certain innovation or some type of new type of filler or new type of crimper or something like that in there, it has to have a look. It has to have a look that stands out, and it has to be functional. It's going to be a great piece of equipment. So yeah, they definitely pay attention to that. Yeah, there's no like yeah, they wouldn't like throw something in the middle. You're like, what is that? Why are you putting that there? That doesn't look good.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it not stainless steel? Why is it not stainless steel? So
Yeah, it's one of the striking things about the machinery, actually, is the all stainless, at least some of the ones I've seen on.
yeah, we're all stainless steel for a reason. It just doesn't corrode. It lasts a long time, and I mean, I've seen some machines inside of shops that some of our customers they take a beating, but they still look good.
Hmm.
So that's because they don't corrode. So because of the all stainless steel. So that is definitely one of our advantages. Yeah, it ups the price a little bit, but it's worth it in the long run.
You mentioned a moment ago about how the aesthetic of the machines is part of the brand and all of that at NBC. Before you joined on, they didn't really have an internal marketing department, and you've sort of brought this, the aesthetic argument and helping highlight that. How else have you kind of tried to bring that brand to life as you've begun to build a marketing strategy for NBC?
Yeah, I think just helping, as a storyteller, and a filmmaker, I wanted to really come in and emphasize like why we do what we do. Why we build the machines the way we build them. Yeah, there was no marketing department before I started, so there was marketing done. So I came in and really put some structure into kind of how we're gonna reach the customer. Redesign the website. Using social media to really tell those stories on how we build and why we do what we do. And it's definitely shown in some of the responses from customers as far as understanding. Now they're like, oh, okay, now I know why you guys do that, or wow, that's a great innovation, or so it definitely has helped, and that's kind of the direction I took as far as building up the brand to this point.
When you talk about the storytelling of the brand and the why you build it the way you do, I mean, fundamentally, I feel there's kind of two different ways people can go about that. They can kind of go from a bit of the inside out, like this is our driving passion. These are the people that build this equipment, and this is why we do it. Or they kind of go from the outside in and they more highlight customers, clients, and say, and the problems that they're solving there, and kind of maybe shine a bit more of the people focus, external versus internal. Have you chosen one or the other, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think ours is external. I mean, we've had some companies that went from one machine, one small lab machine, to now they have a full warehouse of machines. And that's kind of our DNA, is to come alongside our customers and really kind of grow with them and help them innovate. Say they have a new can or something like that they need, and that's why we're kind of a custom designer. They have a new can or a new brand that somebody's coming to them, or they have a new company, new can or product, and it's up to us to kind of help them to bring that can to the consumer and kind of be able to fill that can. So yeah, so it is. I think it's rewarding when I go out and see people growing. Some of our customers growing, and they're getting another machine. They're like, wow, okay, we have a whole new line of a product we're going to put on this machine and what that machine is, and they're excited about it. So yes, ours is very customer driven as far as why we do what we do. Yeah, so it's I think that's why we've been around so long.
One of the things that you've mentioned to us in our conversation before we started recording the podcast was that in these you're operating in an incredibly niche space or niche space, you know, but you mentioned too that you're also kind of, and I think it's evident in what you've brought to NBC from the product standpoint in terms of how you're showcasing it and all of that. But one of the things you've mentioned is that you really are kind of looking at what are the trends that are out there right now in marketing and kind of bringing things maybe from a non-industrial space to the sort of things that you're marketing. What are you seeing and what are you looking for there, and what do you feel you've taken advantage of?
Yeah, I think wow, I think coming from outside, I was kind of doing marketing for B2C. B2B is totally different. They're more conscious on the price and how what ROI I'm going to get back on this product or this machine that I'm buying. So I think thinking outside the box and looking at how B2C markets, right? Kind of taking a little bit of that and just taking some risk. And I'm taking some risk on social media, putting some stuff out that's either humorous or kind of seeing where it's gonna how people are gonna gauge it and interact with it and engage. So you know, yeah, I think outside the box a lot. So like, sometimes I have to question what I'm about. I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to post that. I run some stuff by the team and like, do we think we should go with this? And they're like, nah, let's not do that one. So, so they could get us in trouble. But yeah, I like thinking outside the box. I like keeping it innovative. And even ads and print ads, and we still do a lot of print ads. Just being kind of you know I think I'm inspired by car ads a lot. It's very emotional. It's very emotional the way they build a car, and then they kind of create this environment around that car. You look at Formula One. I saw a documentary on Formula One and how they're and some of the teams and how they have the cars sitting in the lobby. They have like all these cars that they've driven like sitting in the lobby like a museum. It's like wow, but it gives a certain mystique when you walk into that office. You're like, wow, this is what they built. It's just cars. They all look the same. They all made the same model type, but but, but the different colors and the story behind each one, but it gives you a different feeling. So you kind of embrace it. You're like, all right. So that's kind of what I guess what inspires me is I definitely look at a lot of way cars are marketed and just showcased.
Have you done? I know with a lot of the manufacturers that we work with, that factory tour is sort of the last step usually before a purchase is made. Or sometimes I guess it could be even earlier in the process. But are you working within NBC to create kind of any internal storytelling at the plant, or are people coming to see that?
Yes, yeah, yeah, definitely. I remember the first day there, and I walked through the facility, and I'm like, how come we have no pictures of the machines on the wall? Like people walk in, and there's nothing here. So that was kind of my first like, hey, okay, we're gonna get some large, 24 by 36 prints on the wall of each machine and details and yeah, definitely. So I've so that was probably one of the first things I initiated because yeah, there was nothing that told that story when you walk into the factory. So now it's definitely people like, oh, okay, wow. Even like new employees coming in or new builders are like, hey, wow, that's great. I built that machine, or
It has to be a source of pride for existing employees, yeah?
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it definitely gives you that feel when all the pictures in the conference rooms, and so it gives people a feel when they come in like, okay, it's a conversation piece as well. So,
Herbert, I want to go back to that comment that you made about B2C versus B2B and kind of taking some risks, and particularly in social. And kind of reflecting on that a little bit, I guess I'm curious. Do we? I think I can make the argument in either direction. Like I can make the argument. I think that B2B is actually more risk loving. Like that there's more tolerance for certain types of potentially off-color humor than there might be in more B2C environments where you're. And I could probably make the argument in the reverse. What has been your experience?
Yeah, man, I would say that I think I look at there's some brands out there that are definitely taking a lot of swings, like a Liquid Death or they're taking, but they're B2C, so they take those swings and it works for them. It works for their brand. That's who their brand is. So I think with uh, with machines, you have to kind of I want to say conservatively look at it, but I think kind of stay within your brand and who you're representing and who your consumers are. Otherwise, otherwise you kind of lose them in a sense. So you can be on that edge a little bit, but then kind of come back. I mean, when I came in, I mean, I was like, hey, we're going to get on every platform, but we're on every platform, even Pinterest. So Pinterest, TikTok. So we have TikTok videos that have a lot of views, just some quirky engineering type stuff, or that I didn't actually expect it to kind of go viral, but it actually did, and I was like, wow, okay. But it's a platform that actually we're just showcasing the brand. I mean, I just use each platform for what it is. I use social for what it is. It's a net to bring everybody back to the website and to have a conversations about NBC.
You just mentioned how the TikTok success surprised you. Would you say that's been your most surprising execution thus far? And if not, what was?
No, I've had some we've done some blogs that have definitely had some great, just great engagement. The TikTok one, yeah, it was because it was kind of it was a video. I was like, I had just kind of started the platform, kind of signed us up for the platform, and I was like, hey, okay, do a couple of videos here. Let's see what happens. I was playing around. I'll test a lot to see what works and what doesn't work. And I found that people are very interested in the mechanical side of what we do and when we're testing, so they want to see the quirky stuff that the general public won't see. so they're interested in that, taking cardboard to redirect some valves or something like that. Just so it is like I think you just find what works on each platform, and that's what I've done. Even Instagram is great. I mean, like I don't know if each platform has its own audience, its own little quirk, and you just find what works. And once I find what works, hey, I just keep creating that same thing.
Until Congress shuts it down.
Yeah, until Congress shuts it down. Well, that's the great thing about all these platforms, right? Hey, you shut down one, you just move on. You don't focus on one.
That's interesting. Who do you find that there's a specific kind of grouping of potential customers for your machines in different places, in different pieces of social media, and does that impact what you create for those?
Yes, it does. Yeah, on Instagram, I would find that I'll find a lot of kind of the medical pharmaceutical audience on there that will engage with some of the machines that we build that are for pharmaceutical and the MDI world, the meter dose inhaler world. And then on LinkedIn, it's kind of a traditional aerosol bag on valve type of audience that I'll find there. So yeah, each audience has its own, I think I find on each platform is something. Twitter is more informational, just kind of like, or X, whatever we want to call it now.
Yeah. I refuse to call it X too. I'm with you.
Yeah, I know, whatever. Yeah, it's still Twitter.
That's fascinating that you found a bit of vertical differentiation as well in platforms. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I think, and then like I said, Twitter's more informational. You'll have something that people, and I pay attention a lot to the way. I don't know if you ever looked at how clickbait works on like Facebook or just on websites in general, and I pay attention to that because it's very emotional. So I try to drive the audience based on clickbait type of headings on Twitter, and it works. So.
Herbert, as our time is drawing to a close, I wonder if you have any kind of parting advice for people maybe people that have had experience in marketing but are jumping into the industrial B2B space for the first time? What's your parting words?
Yeah, I would say just get a real good grasp on and vision of where you want your brand to go, where you want it to go. Uh, don't don't limit yourself based on what others are doing. I think outside the box and just just create and have fun with it. I think it's taken too seriously at times, especially within the B2B space and manufacturing. It's taken too seriously. Enjoy it. We're marketing. Create, be creative, and just create things that are that are outside the box, and that'll appeal to people when they see it.
Make things beautiful so
Yeah,
people buy them.
exactly. Make things beautiful so they buy it. Exactly.
Herbert, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to The Cooler Ring with Carmen Perry and Jeff White. Don't miss a single manufacturing marketing insight. Subscribe now at KulaPartners.com/The Cooler Ring. That's KULAPartners.com/The Cooler Ring.